What if I told you that just 5 simple phrases, 5 seemingly innocent strings of words, could act as a perfect compass, guiding you away from years of potential heartbreak, confusion, and wasted life force? Now, imagine that these aren't just red flags you've heard of before. They are masterfully crafted psychological traps, designed to sound like normal conversation, yet carrying an energetic signature of manipulation so potent that your intuition can feel it, even when your mind can't name it. And what if you could finally learn to decode this hidden language? To reclaim that deep, instinctual wisdom you were born with, allowing you to see a man's true intentions not for his potential, but for the reality he presents right now. Once you hear these 5 phrases for what they truly are, you will never be able to unhear them. Stay with me until the very end, because the 5th and final phrase is a masterclass in subtlety. It's so devastatingly effective that an estimated 99% of women miss it completely. And understanding it is arguably the most crucial act of energetic self-protection you will perform this year. Before we dive into this verbal minefield, there's a fundamental truth you need to grasp, one that will forever change the way you perceive your interactions with men. For generations, most women have been lovingly, yet dangerously, conditioned to always give the benefit of the doubt. We're taught to see the potential in a person instead of the reality of their actions, to be the healer rather than the protector of our own sacred energy. This conditioning runs so profoundly that many of us have lost touch with our most powerful survival tool, the instinct to detect emotional predators. And yes, that is precisely what they are, emotional predators who employ specific, predictable language patterns to test your boundaries, systematically lower your standards, and make you fundamentally question your own worth. In many ancient wisdom traditions, particularly within the contemplative paths of the East, it is understood that speech is not merely sound, it is a creative force, a transfer of energy. When someone speaks to you, they are not just conveying information, they are transmitting their internal state, their hidden intentions, and their level of respect directly into the garden of your mind. This is why some conversations can leave you feeling utterly drained, confused, or second-guessing yourself, even when you can't logically pinpoint what went wrong. Your intuition, your soul, was picking up on the vibrational imprint of manipulation, while your conditioned mind tried desperately to rationalize it away. What I am sharing with you today is not just relationship advice. Think of it as a form of energetic self-defense, a shield that will protect not only your heart but the entire trajectory of your life. Because here is the truth nobody seems to talk about. The partner you choose does not just influence your romantic life. He becomes a current that affects your career, your financial future, your friendships, your bond with your family, your self-esteem, and even your physical health. Choose poorly, and you risk spending years of your precious life force healing from the damage. But choose wisely, or better yet, learn to identify and walk away from the wrong ones with grace and speed, and you create a beautiful, sacred space for something truly magnificent to enter your life. So, let's begin. The very first phrase that should have you turning away, not with a walk but with a sprint, is when a man tells you you're too sensitive, or any of its cunning variations like you're being dramatic or you're overreacting. This phrase is psychological manipulation at its absolute finest. It's a poisoned dart designed to make you question your own perception of reality. When a man dismisses your emotional reaction as being too much, he isn't actually commenting on your level of sensitivity. He is revealing his profound inability and unwillingness to handle a woman who is connected to her own worth and speaks her truth. Here's the hidden mechanism at play. He is sending out a probe, testing the walls of your self-respect. He wants to see if you will abandon your own emotional intelligence just to keep him comfortable. He is checking if you will shrink yourself to make him feel bigger. A man who genuinely cherishes you doesn't dismiss your feelings. He becomes curious about them. He asks questions. He listens to understand, not just to respond. He seeks to comprehend your perspective, even if he doesn't immediately agree with it. The most insidious part of this phrase is how it plants a tiny seed of self-doubt that, if watered, grows into a suffocating weed. You start to question every emotion, every gut feeling, every whisper of your intuition. You become your own warden, constantly policing yourself, wondering, am I being too much again? This is precisely the state an emotional predator desires. They want you disconnected from your internal guidance system, because your intuition is the one superpower that can see right through their manipulation. This is nothing short of energetic violence. And it's happening in relationships everywhere because we have normalized it as just how men are. But I am here to tell you that conscious, evolved men do not operate this way. They understand that a woman's emotional depth is not a bug to be fixed, but a feature to be honored. This leads us to the second phrase that should send you running for the hills. I'm just being honest. Or, I'm just telling you the truth. Pay close attention, because this one is almost always used as a shield immediately after a cruel, unnecessary, or deliberately hurtful comment. This phrase is a brilliant manipulation tactic designed to rebrand cruelty as a virtue. When someone uses honesty as a weapon to wound you, they are not being honest. They are being abusive and cleverly attempting to make you feel guilty for the pain they just inflicted. True, authentic honesty is always rooted in love and a genuine desire for the other person's well-being. It is delivered with kindness, with compassion, and with careful consideration for timing and context. When a man lobs a hurtful comment at you and then hides behind the excuse of just being honest, he is revealing one of two things. He either lacks empathy entirely, or he actually enjoys causing you pain and wants to make it your fault for reacting. I have seen this pattern systematically dismantle a woman's self-esteem. He'll make casual, honest remarks about your appearance, your intelligence, your dreams, your friends, anything that is precious to you. And the moment you express that his words hurt, he will flip the script, acting as though you are the problem for not being able to handle his truth. This creates a devastating psychological trap where you begin to believe that love means accepting cruelty, and that asking for kindness makes you weak or needy. But the real truth is this: A man who loves you will have a natural, undeniable impulse to build you up, not tear you down. Yes, difficult conversations are a necessary part of any real relationship, but they happen with care, with the shared intention of strengthening the bond, not diminishing the person. So when someone consistently uses honesty as an excuse to be cruel, they are showing you plainly that your heart is not safe with them. They are more interested in asserting their dominance than in co-creating genuine intimacy. The third phrase is a masterstroke of gaslighting, and it sounds like this: "You're being controlling." He says this specifically when you try to express a boundary, a need, or a reasonable concern about his behavior. This is gaslighting in its purest form, and it has a single, sinister purpose: to make you afraid of advocating for yourself. By labeling your reasonable requests as controlling, he is actively training you to stop asking for what you need to feel safe and respected. Let's be crystal clear. Setting boundaries is not controlling. It is not about issuing demands or punishments. A boundary is simply a clear and loving communication of what you require to feel safe, respected, and valued in a relationship. When you say things like, "It's important to me that you call when you're going to be very late," or "I'm not comfortable with the way you spoke to me earlier," you are not being controlling. You are being a healthy, self-aware adult. A man who reflexively calls you controlling in these moments is revealing something critical about his character. He fundamentally believes that his absolute freedom is more important than your peace of mind. He views your needs not as vital information on how to love you well, but as inconvenient obstacles to his own comfort. This is the rotten foundation upon which you gradually lose yourself. Women in these situations begin to shrink their needs, minimize their own discomfort, and accept treatment that goes against their deepest values, all because they've been conditioned to believe that having standards is the same as being a controlling person. They start to pride themselves on being low maintenance and easygoing, not realizing they are simply abandoning themselves to accommodate someone who does not value their well-being. A man who truly loves you wants to know your boundaries because he wants to honor them. He understands that boundaries are not walls that limit the relationship. They are the very framework that allows trust and intimacy to flourish. The men who call you controlling are the same men who will take everything they can if you have no boundaries to begin with. Finally, we arrive at the fourth phrase, which is perhaps one of the most common and emotionally destructive. "I'm not ready for a relationship," or "I don't want anything serious right now." But here is the crucial key. He says this to you while simultaneously behaving as if you are in a committed relationship. He texts you all day, spends most of his free time with you, introduces you to his friends, and shares the kind of intimate emotional details that belong in a real partnership. He creates all the feelings and patterns of a relationship while explicitly telling you that's not what this is. This is not honesty. It's a calculated strategy. It is designed to grant him all the benefits of your presence, your emotional support, your physical affection, your time, your loyalty, without any of the responsibility or accountability that comes with actually choosing you. He gets to have his cake and eat it too. all while you are left holding an empty plate. This dynamic is so devastating because it places you in an impossible emotional bind. If you stay and accept his terms, you are implicitly agreeing that you are an option, not a priority. If you express a desire for more, he can instantly point back to his original disclaimer and make you feel like you're the one being unreasonable. And if you walk away, you're haunted by the feeling that you might be giving up on something that could have become real. If only you had been a little more patient. But I need you to hear this, and let it settle deep within your heart. When a man truly wants to be with you, there is no confusion, there is no, not ready, there is no, let's just see where this goes. When a man recognizes your value and is terrified of losing you, he moves with intention and clarity. The men who keep you in relationship limbo are not confused. They know exactly what they want. And what they want is to keep you available without ever having to fully commit. You become a placeholder, warming a seat that he has no intention of permanently offering you. We've now explored 4 powerful phrases that chip away at a woman's self-worth: the dismissal of her feelings, the weaponization of honesty, the false accusation of control, and the confusing non-commitment. Each one is a tool of emotional manipulation, designed to keep you small and compliant. But the 5th and final phrase is arguably the most dangerous of them all, because it's not about what he says to you, it's about what he says to other people. It's the one that operates in the shadows, and once you learn to see it, you will understand the entire game on a whole new level. We've now seen how words can be used to dismiss your feelings, to disguise cruelty as honesty, to falsely accuse you of control, and to keep you suspended in a confusing state of non-commitment. Each is a thread in a complex web of manipulation. But the 5th and final phrase we must now uncover is perhaps the most heartbreaking of all, because it attacks the very essence of who you are becoming. It's the one that most women don't even recognize as a tactic until years later, when they are painstakingly trying to piece their sense of self back together. This devastating phrase is, "You've changed." He doesn't say it with admiration. He says it with a quiet tone of disappointment, a subtle accusation with the heavy implication that the person you are evolving into is somehow a downgrade from the person you were when he first met you. This phrase is nothing short of soul-crushing, because it is strategically designed to make you abandon your own growth, your personal evolution, and your authentic self, all to retreat to a version of yourself that was more predictable and convenient for him. When a man utters, "You've changed," as a criticism, he is revealing a profound truth. He didn't fall in love with your potential to become the magnificent being you were meant to be. He fell in love with your potential to serve his needs. Think about what's really happening. You are growing. You are finally setting those boundaries, finding your voice, chasing your dreams, or simply becoming more confident and radiant in your own skin. And instead of celebrating this beautiful unfolding, instead of feeling honored to witness your evolution, he feels threatened by it. But why? Because the version of you he preferred was smaller, more manageable, more focused on his world, and less focused on your own expansion. Your growth requires him to grow, too, and he is refusing the invitation. This tactic is particularly cruel because it targets your most vulnerable human need, the need to be loved and accepted for who you truly are. When someone you care for implies that your personal growth is a form of betrayal, it can trigger a deep psychological crisis. You begin to question everything. Is becoming more myself worth the risk of losing his love? Should I shrink back down to the size that felt safer for him? I have watched brilliant women abandon their dreams, sever friendships, stall their careers, and halt their healing journeys because a man made him feel that their evolution was selfish or wrong. They stop going to therapy because it's changing them. They set aside their passions because he preferred when all their attention was on him. They dissolve their boundaries because he liked them better when they were more easygoing. But I need you to anchor yourself in this truth, down to the marrow of your bones. A man who truly loves you doesn't just tolerate your growth, he champions it. He is your biggest cheerleader. He feels a genuine sense of excitement when he sees you becoming more confident, more clear, more connected to your own divine purpose. He understands that your growth doesn't threaten the relationship, it strengthens it. Because you are bringing a more whole, vibrant, and authentic version of yourself to the partnership. When a man criticizes you for changing, he is admitting, I preferred you when you were less than who you are capable of being. This isn't love, this is a desire for possession. So let's just take a breath here, because this information, especially when you see your own story reflected in it, can land like a tidal wave. You might be sitting there feeling a whirlwind of emotions. Maybe it's the sting of recognition from a past relationship. Maybe it's a sudden, uncomfortable clarity about your current one. Maybe it's anger that no one ever taught you this language. Or maybe it's a quiet sense of gratitude that you are learning it now. All of these feelings are valid. Honor whatever is coming up for you. But please, hear this. This knowledge is not meant to make you cynical about love or suspicious of every man you meet. Its purpose is to help you cultivate discernment. It's about developing the sacred ability to distinguish between people who are genuinely invested in your well-being and people who are primarily focused on what they can get from you. It's about learning to finally trust that whisper from your intuition when something feels off. Even if you can't immediately find the words for it, the beautiful truth is that there are incredible men in this world who would never dream of using these phrases. There are men who will celebrate your sensitivity, recognizing it as a sign of profound emotional intelligence. There are men who will deliver difficult truths with the utmost kindness because they genuinely care about your heart. There are men who will not only respect your boundaries but thank you for them, because they understand that boundaries create the safety required for true intimacy to blossom. There are men who will commit to you with clarity and enthusiasm because they see your worth and feel lucky to have found you. And yes, there are men who will be in absolute awe as they watch you grow, knowing that your expansion only makes the world and your shared life more beautiful. These men exist, but you will never be able to recognize them if you are busy trying to rationalize the behavior of men who don't value you. You will never attract them if your energy is exhausted from settling for crumbs. You will never build something beautiful with him if you believe your job is to fix or heal someone who isn't even interested in becoming a better man. Here is what I invite you to do with this information. Start paying attention, not just to his words, but to your body. Notice how you feel after a conversation with the men in your life. Do you feel energized, seen, and valued, or do you feel drained, confused, and diminished? Your body keeps the score, and your energy never lies. Start trusting your initial gut reactions instead of allowing your mind to talk you out of them. And most importantly, please understand that walking away from people and situations that do not honor you is not cruel. It is the ultimate act of self-love. It is not giving up on love. It is declaring that you are making space for real love to finally enter your life. Every moment you spend trying to convince someone of your worth is a moment you are unavailable to someone who would never make you question it. The right person for you will not require you to shrink. They will not need to be convinced to choose you, because for them, choosing you will feel like the most natural thing in the world. The final truth I want to leave you with is this. Your primary job in this life is not to be so understanding that you understand yourself into a cage. It is not to be so patient that you patiently wait for your own light to dim. Your job is to be so radically, authentically, and unapologetically yourself that you become a lighthouse. And a lighthouse doesn't run all over the island trying to save ships. It just stands there, shining. The love you are looking for is also looking for you, but it can only find you when you are standing in your own light. If this conversation resonated with you, and you are ready to continue this journey of reclaiming your power and your peace, I would be honored if you would subscribe to this channel and join our community. Thank you for sharing your energy with me today.